Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Millennials in Charge, the space where we unpack the adult experience one honest conversation at a time. I'm your host, Lex the Millennial, and today we're diving into a topic that can get real messy real fast. I told y'all last week, I mentioned something about standards and expectations, and I told y'all I would bring y'all another episode diving into that topic because I know some of y'all wanted to jump on me and I wanted to clarify some of those things. We're going to talk about settling versus compromising when you're trying to find your person. The line can get blurry, especially when everyone's screaming, don't settle, but no one actually explains what that means. A lot of us are out here trying to find someone that gets us, loves us, and can grow with us. But sometimes we get stuck in that loop of, am I being too picky or am I lowering my standards? Sometimes you have to ask yourself, are you walking away from something real because it's not perfect? Or are you staying in something that drains you because it looks right on paper? Today, we're breaking down the difference between settling and healthy compromise and how to check whether your expectations are blocking your blessings or protecting your peace. Let's get into it. So let's start by defining the difference between settling and compromising. So settling is when you're giving up something that's essential to your happiness, your values, or your long-term goals. It's essentially when you accept less than what you know you need. Compromise means making adjustments to your preferences, not your principles. It's choosing your battles and recognizing that no one checks every box. There is no perfect person out there. There may be a person that's perfect for you, but no one is perfect. None of us are perfect. Settling is when you're accepting less than what you need in order to say you have someone. That's settling. Accepting less than what you need. If there are certain things that you need, certain love languages and boxes you need checked, that's settling. Now, that's not to say people don't need time to learn your love languages, but if there are certain values and stuff that you need, then you may be settling if you're accepting less than what you need. Now, compromising is making space. You're making space for another person's humanity while still honoring your non-negotiables. It's okay to have non-negotiables, but I think you have to allow space for someone to come into your life and be human. Social media is not real. It's not a real place. People can post vacations and all of this stuff and they can just be old memories. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. So you have to realize that social media is not a real place. The things you see on social media are not real. They are a highlight of people's lives. They are probably the best part of people's lives. So unless they are saying, hey, we are being honest all the time, we just had a fight, you are 9 times out of 10 seeing one, what they want you to see, and two, the highlight of what they want you to see. The best, what is a highlight reel in sports? It's when they put together your best moments, your best shots, right? Social media is a highlight reel. So I just want us to kind of get our minds in gear for the conversation we're about to have, because truly it's gonna be different. It's gonna look a little bit different than social media. So again, you have to ask yourself, are you settling, which is dating someone with zero ambition when ambition means everything to you? Or are you simply compromising by dating someone who isn't rich but works hard and has goals? Because someone that works hard and has goals will never be poor. Male or female, never be poor. A key question when you're battling with settling versus compromising is, does this person align with your core values? Even if they don't check every box, do you guys have the same core values? We often confuse the two because social media, like I said, it glorifies having it all. You can have it all. My man buys me flowers, buys me a Rolex, takes me on trips, all of these things. Social media says you can have it all. But love isn't about perfection, it's about partnership. And one of the most important things when trying to find your partner is looking at how well you work together. That was actually one of the things like my husband told me. He's like, we work well together. And that was like one of the determining factors on if he wanted to propose to me. How do we resolve conflict? How do we communicate? How do we work together? Right? We often get confused settling with compromising because of the fear of being alone. It can kind of cause a blur of the lines between what's reasonable and what's settling. Because I know, especially for women, I feel like women have this one, we have an internal clock, but also kind of this pressure, even from our family, where it's like, so you're 30 something, like you don't have a man or you don't want kids. And then you start to feel like, okay, well, maybe I should just go out here and get me a man. Like, and that's how we end up sometimes building a man or a woman, you know. Fellas, I'm not gonna leave y'all out. But I think that pressure from your family and from society to have things within a certain time frame will definitely have you settling or making this person into your person or ignoring their red flags because you just feel all this pressure to not be alone. Oh, I'm getting older. I'm gonna be alone. We started this journey out with saying, meet yourself where you are, run your own race, stay in your own lane. Your timeline is nobody else's timeline. You don't need to be married, have a house, kids, or whatever by 30. You don't. You don't have to be. I told y'all, kids are ghetto. Love them, but kids are ghetto. So don't be in a rush for it because it's a lot that comes with that. Houses are ghetto. Okay. Oh, it's beautiful. All these things. When stuff breaks, that is the craziest thing. Pro tip, get a home warranty. But we can talk about that later, but get a home warranty because when stuff breaks, you need somebody to call. And unlike apartments, there is no landlord. You are the landlords. And then marriage, at least for me, the way I view it, it is forever. Yes, you can get a divorce if that's what you see fit for yourself, but marriage for me is forever. And I just feel like I'm only going to do this once, so I'm only going to do it right. So there's no problem in taking your time and not settling just because you feel rushed by somebody else. Because the thing about it is that most people who have all these pressures and advice for your life may not be there when things fall apart, when the chips are down. And so you have to make sure with yourself that you are not settling, but you are open to compromise because nobody's perfect. I think for me, I always tell my cousin that she is like, I love her whole life. She is single. We are the same age. She's slightly older than me, but she's still my baby cousin. And she is single, and I feel like she does a very good job of navigating settling. And I halfway think she's picky, but I also feel like she does a good job of not settling, and she's very sure of that. And she prays heavily, you know, for her future spouse. And I know that even though the people she might date, God is not gonna allow her to settle, but he will open her up to compromise no matter how high her standards seem. And so I think that's very powerful. You have to, I'm telling y'all, prayer is powerful, okay? So if you don't know if you're settling with someone, just pray about it. God will reveal it to you because I really just don't want y'all out here getting married because y'all feel pressure too. I don't want y'all out here marrying the wrong person because y'all feel pressure too. I want you to know deep down inside that you have the right person, you know, that God has sent you this person and that y'all in it for the long haul, you know. Leaving is off the table. So I just really want to get through to y'all with this message. So standards versus expectation. Where's the line? Okay? Reasonable standards, ladies and gentlemen, but ladies are emotional availability, respect and communication, shared life goals. I think the most important thing, you have to agree on faith, finances, and family. The three F's. And I'll dig more into that with my husband in a later series. But shared life goals, faith, family, finances. Make sure your person checks these three boxes for you. Make sure you guys are on the same page, because that's going to become very important when you do join your lives together. That's going to become very important when you join your lives together and then decide to have children. Make sure you got the three F's. Also, accountability and personal growth. These are all reasonable standards. Let's talk about unrealistic expectations, because I do believe we all may have a few without even realizing it. Because again, social media has led you to believe that this is the standard, or a movie has led you to believe that this is the standard. So let's talk about that. Six-figure salary, six-pack abs, and 6 feet tall. All three at once is an unrealistic expectation. It's not unattainable, but it's an unrealistic expectation. It's possible somebody might just be in the fitness, he might be tall, whatever, but God bless the short kings. Like, everybody's not 6 feet tall. So I think with that, you have to kind of give some grace there. If he got six figures and a six pack, I think it's okay. He 5'10". Like, it's okay. Girl, wear flats. You adjust. Wear flats, pivot, adjust, okay? No emotional baggage whatsoever. I think that's a hard one, because we all often have emotional baggage. I think the best compromise to that is like, well, make sure you're working on that. I don't want you to bring all this luggage into the relationship. So I would like you to work on it, but it's not unreasonable to have, like, a carry-on and maybe a duffel of some emotional baggage. Expecting someone to always say the right thing at the right time, that's unrealistic. We're human. Some people say the first thing that comes to their mind. Some people are very good at comforting and stuff like that, but we all aren't. So you have to give some grace there. Making you happy 24/7. I think one of the biggest personal growth tools that we miss is making our own selves happy. Are you happy alone? Because if you're not happy with who you are, you getting somebody who has six figures, a six pack, and 6 feet, is just like emotionally intelligent, just has it all, has no children, all of these things. If you're not happy with yourself, that person won't even make you happy, even if they check all the boxes. So I think we have to kind of make sure that we expect to make ourselves happy first before we expect someone else to make us happy. And I do believe that your happiness is in your hands. It's not in their hands. I think your partner does add to that happiness, but if you're not happy by yourself, they not gonna make you happy, or they'll have to keep working at making you happy because you're not happy with yourself. So it's like they have to keep doing stuff or the relationship won't work. And that's not realistic, because I can love you and want to love you the way you need to be loved, but sometimes I need that poured back into me. So if you're not happy, then how you gonna pour that back into me? You can't. You don't got enough happiness. You're not even happy with yourself. So just be mindful of that. I think we have to ask ourselves, are your standards rooted in values or fantasy? Like, are they based on rom-com, social media, or your fear of being alone? Would you be able to meet your own expectations if the roles were reversed? I think you really have to ask yourself that. And I say ladies because I have seen and I have had friends who I felt like did not bring to the table what they were asking the person to bring, which I found very off-putting. I was like, dang, like, this man got to have a house, a car, a job, no kids, but then you walking around here living with your parents, a car, no car, kids, and no job, but he's supposed to bring all of these things. And I don't think that's right, ladies. I don't think that's right. I think expecting someone to be great and you're not great yourself is a little backwards. And I think we have to realize where we are. And I say ladies because I feel like ladies are tend to do this more often. It's not that men don't, because some men swear they the prize, and you have those ones. And men, you are valuable, and you can very well be a prize. But I think when we talk about the prize, the man finds a wife, and so that is your prize. So that's why I say we are the prize. And yeah. And so I say we are the prize, to find your wife. Yeah. But I think you have to make sure that you're bringing to the table what you're asking. Now, most women, especially black women, highly educated, fierce, bomb. Black women are probably, I believe, the most educated. So black women be bomb. A lot of them do bring a lot to the table. There are some that have not reached their full potential yet, and that's okay. So I think that's why black women have the high standards, because we typically do have it together. But you do have to ask yourself, are you rejecting someone over surface traits while you're craving emotional security? Because I always say, and I've been telling the people that are close to me and the women that are close to me, the single women in my life, I've been telling them, like, don't worry about, and this is the wrong term, but I'm going to use it. Don't worry about the things you can change about someone. Worry about the things you can't. Now, again, we just talked about last week, you can't change people unless they want to. But what I'm talking about is, if you don't like his haircut, he can get a different haircut. Okay? My husband hates this story, but I did not like his haircut when I met him. He had the most gorgeous smile and he was fine. So I was like, he had like he was like growing his hair out. So it was like that weird in between stage. And I was like, that's not the best, but he's cute and I loved the way he treated me. So it was like, I could overlook some hair. It's fine, whatever. And I'm short, so he didn't have to be 6 feet tall because I'm only 5'2". So that was fine. But I loved the way he treated me. I loved the way he made me feel. I loved the way we clicked and connected, So for me, our relationship was just so organic that I was like, I'm gonna get him, the sponge, and he could do the sponge and get the curls. Like, it wasn't that deep for me. But I always say, like, don't focus on the things you can change. Haircuts, teeth. They have braces, Invisalign, veneers, whatever your jam is, you can change teeth. Height, I mean, that's genetics, but they do have like the lift surgery if that's what y'all into. But like, don't worry about those superficial things. Even, you know what? I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Even money, because you can, if you are the right person for that man or woman, you can change the trajectory of their lives and you can help them make more money, right? That's not an end all be all. You can help somebody change their career and make more money. You can help somebody, once they see the value in themselves, you can help push them and motivate them in changing and accepting that they deserve more and can get more. So even money, even if you don't make the most right now, that is something that is easily fixed with a new job, or easily fixed with a new certification, or easily fixed with your own business, or whatever it is. Don't get caught up on that. Do get caught up on the way someone treats you, the way they speak to you, the way they speak to their parents, what they believe in, how they manage finances, what they believe in family, Do get caught up on that, but don't get caught up on the shallow things. Don't get caught up in vanity, because those are things that over time can change. If you don't like somebody's style, they sneaker game whack, they not a sneakerhead. I don't know how many POV videos I've seen where they was like, my style before my girl, my style after. So, I mean, that go the other way, because some men be swagging and some women don't. So it goes both ways for that. And I just feel like You can change clothes, but you can't change who somebody is deep down inside. So just be mindful of that. So is wanting to be financially stable shallow? I would say not at all. Financial stability is a value, okay? It's not a luxury. It's also important to understand that stability looks different at different stages of life. Okay? Financial stability in your 20s is not what it looks like in your 30s, is not what it looks like in your 40s. So you have to look at effort, mindset, consistency, and not just the bank account. You have to look at their work ethic. How much effort are they willing to put in? What's their mindset like? Do they have a personal growth mindset? Are they consistent in their efforts? You know, if they keep saying, I'm going to be a millionaire, I want to be a millionaire, whatever, are they consistent in their efforts to become that millionaire or just make those six figures, whatever it is for you, you know? I think we get caught up in just wanting more and more and more. And I do think that we do have to take inventory of where we are and appreciate where you are. Because, like I said before, where you are right now is probably a place you prayed to be. So definitely, it's okay to want financial stability. That's okay. But it is important to realize that it looks different at different stages of life. So let's clarify some of those reasonable standards, right? You're allowed to want consistency, honesty, shared values, shared life goals, ambition, affection, etc. Your standards should be rooted in your needs and not someone else's checklist. It should be rooted in your needs. Think with your standards, you have to do some self-reflection on what you need, what makes you happy, what makes you tick, what you enjoy. And you know, if you're a nature person, then you know, you'd hope that that person get you outside at least once a week, or they allow you to run by yourself if that's what you need to do. You know, healthy relationships require alignment, not perfection. No relationship is perfect, but healthy relationships require alignment. So add this to your list. On your prayer list, you're adding, on top of discernment, you're asking for alignment. You're asking for partnership. I told you guys you need to align on faith, family, finances. Pray for alignment for your future partner. A red flag mindset is that I'll change them or they'll grow into it. I told you guys, we can't change people at their core. The vanity, the shallow things, we can change those things if someone is willing to allow us to, but who people are at their core, you cannot change. You cannot change that. A green flag mindset when it comes to settling versus compromising is we communicate, we grow together, and we have shared core values. That's so important. People often say marriage is hard. Marriage is hard work. It is hard work. I love being married. I love my husband. I love the relationship that we have. Communication is a big part of that. Learning how to communicate with each other so that we hear each other. Aligning, having those core values, growing together. We have grown together over these past 7 years almost. We've grown in so many ways, you know, and that's what I love about us. So I think just really looking at how well you work together. Is this a partner? Is this a partner? You have to ask yourself that. So let's talk about some of the signs that you're settling. Because again, with that outside pressure, with social media being what it is, and at your fingertips to see everybody's life and what's going on, that pressure can cause you to settle. So I want you to take inventory of if you're settling. Some of the signs are you constantly feel unfulfilled, but you tell yourself, at least I'm not alone. Being alone is way better than feeling unfulfilled in your relationship. Way better. I promise you. Because if you do single right, it's way better than being unfulfilled in a relationship. I mentioned maybe last time, I think, relationship goals. They talk about the season of singleness. I enjoyed singleness. I was single for 2 years before I met my husband. And during that time, like I took the time to date myself. Think like during the week I worked, I might go to happy hours with my coworkers. And I would on Saturdays, I love to like either go to the movies and then, get me a little pizza, watch my movie, and then maybe like go shopping and then go get me some lunch. And like I sit at Fridays and just have me a little drink. Like I have the meal, the dessert, everything. Like I'm getting myself the works, okay? So, and that was like a very happy place for me. And then I was in the gym hard. Like that was my happy place. So I just really enjoyed my singleness. It was a good time for me. And I do understand and I do realize it does get hard. Singleness is sometimes hard because you do want the family. If those are your goals, if you do want the family and you do want the husband or the wife or whatever, it's hard sometimes. It's not always peaches and rainbows, but I do think the best part of singleness is the part that you enjoy when you realize that you are happy. You are in your happy place. So I really just think enjoy that season of singleness. And once you're fulfilled alone, you're definitely not settling for being unfulfilled in a relationship or a marriage. If you shrink your voice, your goals, or your values to avoid conflict and keep the peace, you might be settling. In my previous relationship, I did shrink myself. And again, thank God for deliverance, y'all. Thank God for deliverance. I don't think I realized it in the moment, but in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, I was shrinking myself. I wasn't my true authentic self. And you might say like, oh, how could you do that? And it's like, it's kind of easy sometimes, especially when that outside pressure is like, oh, well, are you guys going to get married? Oh, you've been together for this time. And it's like that pressure. So you will shrink yourself to make this work. You will shrink yourself to avoid conflict, to keep the peace. But that is a sign that you're settling. If your friends or family notice a change in you that's not a good one, you might be settling. I do believe that the right person does make you better or makes you want to be better so that you go get it on your own. But they're cheering you on. They're your biggest cheerleader and they make you want to do better and be better and reach that full potential that you have. So if people tell you like you're different, but like they worry, you might want to take inventory of if you're settling or not in that relationship. If you're afraid to leave, but deep down you know you should, you might be settling. I've done it. It's hard. It's hard to leave. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. It's hard to leave. But if deep down you know you should, if you pray for that discernment, you pray for that alignment, and God has shown you like this is not it, trust and believe. If you don't get that message the first time, it will be amplified on a different scale at a different time, and the message will be received. So, yeah, just take heed the first time, I'll say. But if you don't, if you like to learn the hard way, go for it. If you make excuses for your person more than you celebrate them, you might be settling. If you feel more lonely in a relationship than you did single, you might be settling. Let me give you an example. If you value communication, but your partner shuts down or ghosts you during conflicts, and you keep telling yourself they just need time, right? But it's been months and there's no real growth, then you might be settling. Settling feels like self-abandonment. Compromise feels like mutual respect. So if you feel like you're starting to lose who you are, what you value, what you hold near and dear, you might be settling. If you're compromising and you feel like you and that person are both trying to grow and change and evolve, and there's a mutual respect for that growth and that change, then you're just compromising. And that's what it's about. You will compromise in a partnership. You won't always get everything you want. They won't always get everything they want. So you will have to compromise, but you don't have to settle. So healthy compromise looks like you feel safe being yourself. You don't have to wear a mask in front of this person. You don't always have to wear makeup, or you don't always have to have a fresh haircut. You don't have to have on, it's gonna make me sound old. You don't have to have on the freshest gear. Do people say that? Probably not, but it's okay. You don't have to have on the freshest gear to be around your person. Like, they fine if y'all just chilling. You guys may be different or opposite, but you guys respect each other's differences in the relationship. That's healthy compromise. Sometimes in relationships, the very thing that someone says that they fall in love with you for can be the very thing that they want you to change and compromise on later, because it was cute at first, but now it's annoying. So just be mindful. You can have differences, you can be opposites, but there has to be respect in that. And you're not going to ask me to change who I am in my core, because then I'm probably not for you. Healthy compromise is you grow as an individual as well as a couple. Your personal growth is not stagnant, and neither is your growth as a couple. You guys are growing together and flourishing together, as well as individually. You're working on that emotional baggage and emotional luggage you might have brought in, and it's getting smaller. It's becoming a little compact bag there. So growth is definitely important. Meeting halfway on things that aren't deal breakers, like maybe cleaning styles, or you love texting but they prefer calling, so you guys like mixed it up. Sometimes you text, sometimes you call. So that's like that meeting halfway, being open to that growth together. So maybe they're not emotionally fluent yet, but they're going to therapy and doing the work. Be open to them growing and learning to communicate, even if it's slower than what you'd like it to be. But if they're working on it, you have to give them a chance. You have to give that a chance to present itself, that the work is helping them grow and change. Adjusting timelines without abandoning values. So if you want kids right now, as soon as we get married, I want to start. They want kids in 3 years. Maybe you guys can meet in the middle at like a year and a half. And it's okay to change that timeline. I mean, I knew when me and my husband got married, I wanted to wait at least a year. Like, I wanted at least a year of just us being together, being married, building a solid foundation, and having that time to get to know each other in marriage. So I wanted at least a year before we decided we were going to try to have a child. And we did that. We had our child right after our second year of marriage. Our child was born. So yeah, I guess a little bit over a year we waited, but we knew like in that first year we didn't want to have a kid. So like we took the proper precautions for that. And again, that's something you would want to talk about and discuss. It's part of the family thing. You want to discuss if that's on the table for you, what it looks like, when, how many, all the things. I told you, all that pregnancy, all the things changes you. And then children change you. And then they can change the dynamic of your relationship. So it's very important to have those conversations. It really is. So some questions to ask yourself as far as healthy compromise goes is, are we both making adjustments, or is it one-sided? Am I the only one doing the work and trying to change and try to get better and trying to make this work? Or are we both making adjustments? Are we both giving a little? Like I said, if you like texting but they like calling, and all they want to do is call you, but they know you don't like to talk on the phone, like, am I the only one making adjustments, or can you handle a couple texts here and there and check on me? Just have to make sure that you're both making the adjustments. You have to ask, are we growing together, or am I shrinking myself for the sake of peace? Don't shrink yourself, because the more you do it, at some point, the real you is going to show up and all hell going to break loose. So I definitely suggest that you do not shrink yourself. If that person does not love you for who you are, don't try to fit this mold. If that person don't love you for who you are, that's not your person. That's not your person. Your person is going to think you're the most handsome, again, without a haircut. Your person is going to think you're the most beautiful, even without makeup, with your hair not done, with your natural curly hair, whatever, like that person is going to think you're the most beautiful in your natural element. So don't shrink yourself for the sake of peace, for the sake of saying you have someone. Don't shrink yourself. So what if they have most of the things you want, but one of your big things is missing? You have to ask yourself, is this a want or a need? If it's a core value, like respect, honesty, or life goals, it's not small and you might want to reevaluate. But if it's more of a surface level thing where you like them, but you guys don't have the same hobbies, that might be where you could compromise. So as long as they're not missing one of your core values, something that you need, not you want, it's nice to have, but something that you need. As long as they're not missing something that you need, it's okay to compromise. So how do we hold on to our standards without sabotaging connection? You have to be clear on what your non-negotiables are. These are things that you cannot compromise on without losing yourself. Those are your non-negotiables. The things you can't compromise on without losing yourself. If it's gonna cause you to lose yourself, it's non-negotiable. Okay? Stay open to how love shows up. Your partner might not be what you pictured. Might not be that vision you had. Okay? But that does not mean that they're not what you need. And oftentimes, your partner might be what you need and just not what you envisioned. And again, worry about looks, because the finest person can be very ugly if they treat you ugly. It's not all about swag. The cleanest person could be ugly because they treat you ugly. Be open to how love shows up, because people aren't perfect and they won't be perfect, but they might just be perfect for you. Do the self-work. The healthier your relationship with yourself is, the more fulfilled you are with yourself, the more that you find joy and happiness with yourself, the clearer your standards become. Do the self-work. Don't let nobody rush you into something because they're pressuring you that you're gonna be alone. That's not their ministry. That's God's ministry. They have no say on when and who you should be with. That's God's business, not theirs. So don't let people pressure you into thinking that you're going to be alone. So you need to hurry up. Do the self-work. Date yourself, love yourself, know yourself, because that makes your standards clear. Then you can clearly communicate your needs to someone else. Lastly, know the difference between chemistry and compatibility. Chemistry is exciting. It's like, ooh, it's just this spark. I get these butterflies, right? Compatibility is what sustains you. Because butterflies fly away. Okay? Butterflies fly away. And if you've ever been in a long-term relationship, like, you don't always feel those butterflies at every moment of every day. You still might get them from that person, but you don't feel them every moment of every day. So Chemistry is so exciting. It's like electrifying. It's what draws you to people, right? Compatibility is what is going to sustain the relationship. So I want to leave you guys with this. You're not being too picky for having standards, but don't confuse perfection with partnership. Love requires clarity and grace. Clarity about what matters most and grace for the imperfections that come along with being human. You deserve a relationship where standards are honored and your expectations are grounded. The goal is not perfection. It is partnership. Our other favorite P, progress. But the goal is not perfection. It is progress over perfection. The goal is partnership. You want a partner. You want a partner. A woman was made from man's rib to be his partner, to be by his side. Made from his side, to be by his side. Like, you want a partner. You want partnership. And that is going to require clarity on what matters most to you and grace that people are imperfect. People are imperfect. I think the greatest thing you have to realize and learn and respect is that when you keep God at the center of your relationship, you only draw closer to each other. So it was explained to me in my marriage counseling, and also I think Pastor Michael Todd has done this diagram. It's a pyramid, and at the top is God. And on the left, let's say, I guess your left, my right, would be the husband. And then on the right, it'd be the wife. And if you can see the pyramid, it's like the closer we get to the top where God is, we get closer to each other. The further we are from God, the further we are from each other. So I think you have to remember, like, keep God first in your relationship. God is first. There's an argument. Do your wife come first? Do your kids come first? God comes first, okay? I'll keep it real. Y'all don't like that. Y'all don't like that. But that's for real. God comes first in your relationship. He has to. Because if not, you're going to find yourself further and further from your person. As always, thank y'all for riding with Millennials in Charge. If this episode made you think twice about your current or future relationships, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe. Turn your notifications on so you know when I drop the next episode. If you're on Instagram, feel free to leave a comment, slide in my DMs, ask me questions, anything. We could talk about it all. I so enjoy engaging with you guys. I so enjoy hearing how the episodes resonate with you or make you think or challenge you or push you or make you reflect on what you're going through or where you are. So I love hearing from y'all. Just hit me up. Instagram is Lex the Millennial and Millennials in Charge. YouTube is Millennials in Charge Podcast. So feel free to hit me up. I will see y'all next time. Don't forget to catch Millennials in Charge every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Eastern. You can tune in on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. See y'all next week.